And what should be a surprise to absolutely no one, Donald Trump has been found guilty for paying off a hole, which, in my opinion, shouldn't be a crime. Sentencing set for 11th July, as Trump says, verdict a disgrace. And it wasn't like a stupid little nonsense technicality. Basically, it's because Trump listed it as a legal fee, as a payment to his lawyer. And the IRS and tax office were like, that's naughty, you can't do that. It wasn't a legal fee, it was a whole payment, and that's what they're trying to get him on. Such a minor little thing, but then again, he's Donald Trump. They're going to do everything they can to destroy him because they are panicking about him winning again. But anyway, Donald Trump has been found guilty on all counts in his historic New York criminal trial. I mean, the fact it's in New York tells you everything you need to know. Becoming the first former or sitting president to be convicted of a crime as he makes a bid to return to the White House. A panel of 12 Manhattan jurors unanimously convicted him on 34 counts. Manhattan jurors, there you go, that's all you need to know, of falsifying business records on Thursday, with sentencing now set for 11th of July. Over a 6-week trial, the court heard from 22 witnesses, including Stormy Daniels, whose alleged sexual encounter with the president was at the centre of the case. Man's out here banging porn stars. I love him. Trump, 77, called the verdict a disgrace, adding, "We'll fight to the end." The former president was accused of having concealed a payment to buy the silence of Miss Daniels, a former adult film star, in the final days of his 2016 election campaign. Prosecutors had argued that by approving a scheme to disguise the money as legal expenses, Trump broke election law. And it's a stupid little daft, like, minor as hell technicality and all that type of stuff, but, like, it's just a nonsense thing. But the thing is that there's a silver lining to all of this because a lot of people, even those that didn't really like Trump, are seeing this. But I'll save it for the end. Save it for the end. Save it for the end. I'll go through the article first. His sentencing will come just days before the start of the Republican National Convention, when he is due to be confirmed as the party's candidate to face Joe Biden, the Democratic incumbent, in November. So basically, clearly to try and get him in prison before he can run for president. That's what they're trying to do. That was the purpose and point of this. While he could in theory face prison, a financial penalty is seen as the more likely punishment. By the way, as soon as the verdict came out, everyone started donating to the Trump campaign, and last I checked, in the space of like a day, he's raised 35 million. This is the thing is, see if he just turns around and crowdfunds it, you'll get that. Unless he gets a absolute joke of an Alex Jones, like bloody fine, like then he's in a spot of trouble. But like he'll be able to raise that. Like seriously, not a problem. Uh, while we could, in fact, I've just read that. A financial penalty is seen as a more likely punishment. For now, Trump has been released without having to pay bail. The former president pursed his lips and turned to look at the jurors as they delivered their guilty verdicts, which came after 2 days of deliberations. Amid a massive police presence outside court afterwards, Trump said, "This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt." I mean, absolutely. Have you seen all this? The judge is like a absolute not Bible thumping, God, what was the term I was trying to use? Book thumping Democrat. I fucked up the phrase. Right. But basically, yeah, total Democrat judge. Like, it's a joke. It is an absolute joke. He added that the real verdict was going to be 5th of November by the people, and that this is long from over. As he spoke, hundreds of onlookers gathered and a helicopter circled overhead. He was expected to speak again to media in front of Trump Tower in New York City on Friday morning. At a news conference, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg declined to comment on whether he would seek a prison term for Trump. They're going to try and jail him. They're going to try and put him away for as long as they possibly can. That's the goal. Like, Trump was not part of the club. He was never supposed to win in 2016. Right? The deep state is in panic mode because they are terrified of him getting back in. Everybody says, oh, he's going to arrest them all and lock them all up. No, he won't. He's not going to do that. I mean, I hope he pardons Ross Ulbricht, like he said at the Libertarian conference, and everyone was like, "Can you believe what Trump said to all the Libertarians?" Like, yeah, I can. I'm sorry, it was funny. Like, keep getting 3% then. Peace. I'm sorry, that was funny. That was funny as hell. Asked about criticism of the case, his predecessor had opted not to bring the charges against Trump. The Democratic prosecutor said, I did my job, Democrat prosecutor. Yeah, okay. Our job is to follow the facts without fear or favour, and that's what we did here. No, he didn't. No, he didn't at all. This is an absolute nonsense case with an absolute nonsense charge, and the reason that you've brought it is not because those who break the law must face justice. The reason that you've brought this case is you're all panicking because you're worried about him winning again. This is interfering in a democratic election, and it's like everyone's still under the illusion that we live in a democracy. We don't. Like, look what they do all over the place. Like in Germany, they're trying to like make the AfD just illegal. They're just trying to make a whole political party who were polling at like 25%, I believe, last time I checked. They're just trying to make them illegal. And Trump, they're just trying to throw him in prison. Well, because he paid hush money to some hoe. And then she breached the agreement by talking about it, which means you can never trust a hoe. How many times do I have to tell you, boys? Never trust a hoe. But the conviction does not prevent Trump from standing in November's election, but he's almost certain to appeal against it regardless. I hope he gets jailed. Right? I know it's a terrible thing to wish on people. I know that whenever, like when J.K. Rowling was getting into trouble for the stuff she said on Twitter, I was like, I hope they jail her. I hope they do it, because I like when things happen that I know is going to light a fire under people. And if they jail Trump, oh, he's won. Oh, he's won. He might have already won just by the guilty verdict, but if they jail him and he wins the election from prison, pardons himself, and just fucking moonwalks out of ADX Florence, let it happen, please. Please, I want it to happen. I've just read that part. It is unclear how the verdict will affect the presidential race. Trump is already up in the polls. He got an 8-point lead overnight. Which is why I'm saying, please put him in jail. Please, oh God. It'll be so funny. However, this is something that I'm genuinely curious about. They've not really released the information on this, but I do want to know. See how if you are president, or if you've ever been president, you've just got Secret Service. You get Secret Service protection for the rest of your life, right? But Trump currently has Secret Service protection, but he's going to be in prison. So how's that going to work? Are they going to be in the jail with him, like, or will he get put into like solitary or something? But like, the thing is, they have to be with him and near him in order to protect him. So how does that work? I want to know that. I did actually do a bit of Googling, but I couldn't find it. There was a bunch of places like theorizing on how it would work, but there's nothing being concrete. I want to know how that would actually work. But anyway, although some of the polls have previously suggested voters in several key swing states would be less likely to vote for Trump if he had a criminal conviction, Brian Hughes, a senior advisor to the Trump campaign, said its digital fundraising system had seen a record number of supporters following the verdict. If Trump were to defeat Mr. Biden, he would become the first convicted criminal to occupy the White House, and it's for paying hush money to some hoe. I'm sorry, that's the most Trump thing ever. And it would not prevent me from voting for him. That's funny. Trump's political allies issued statements in his defense after the verdict. US House of Representatives Speaker Mike Johnson said it was a shameful day in American history because it's just out-and-out lawfare and symbolic of the weaponization of the justice system to silence dissent, which absolutely is happening. Like, it's been happening for fucking years now. Asa Hutchinson, a former governor of Arkansas who ran against Trump for this year's Republican presidential nomination, said it was not easy to see a former president and the presumptive GOP nominee convicted of felony crimes, but that the jury verdict should be respected. Shut up. You know exactly what this is, you dumb bitch. The Trump campaign is expected to be watching closely to see which Republicans speak out in his defense and which others might break ranks in support of the judicial process. A source close to Trump described the situation to the BBC's Catty Kay as a GOP civil war, because remember how I said like Republicans and Democrats, they're both two shades of brown on the same shite. That's what they are. Because remember, a lot of them, Republicans and Democrats, are in the club. A lot of them are. Right? Trump's not in the club. So that makes a lot of them very, very nervous. And they don't like that. There is still only one way to keep Donald Trump out of the Oval Office: at the ballot box, campaign spokesman Michael Tyler said. A statement from Ian Sams, a spokesman for the White House Counsel's office, said, "We respect the rule of law and have no additional comment." You let the country burn for like 2 whole years. You're letting fucking violent offenders out on no bail immediately and stuff. Shut up. We respect the rule of law when it benefits us. Fucking idiots. During the trial, the prosecution set out to prove that Trump had falsified records when he repaid his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, for a $130,000 hush money payment to Miss Daniels. They said he had recorded the reimbursements as legal expenses in order to circumvent campaign finance laws. Todd Blanche, Trump's lead lawyer, told Justice Juan Merchan that the court should not allow the verdict, arguing that Cohen committed perjury on the stand. The Trump team's motion to acquit, however, was denied by Justice Merchan because, of course, it was. It's a paid-off judge, and like I've said many, many times before, the state has basically monopolized decision making. They are the arbiter of all decisions, and since they are the arbiter of all decision making, they will forever make decisions to their own benefit. That's the problem with the government completely controlling the courts. Nobody else has any say, and in every single fucking case, the government is going to rule in its own favour, because at the end of the day, the government is run by humans, and humans would do the exact same thing. But anyway, in a statement posted on X, formerly Twitter, Cohen said that the verdict was an important day for accountability and the rule of law. Sure. The truth always matters, he added. Trump was required to sit in the Manhattan court for the duration of the trial, which kept him largely off the campaign trail. They're fucking killing two birds with one stone, the Democrats are. But he launched near-daily attacks on Mr. Biden, arguing that the case brought by Manhattan's district attorney was politically motivated. The former president faces 3 other criminal cases, including 2 of alleged election interference. But it looks likely that those trials will begin before the presidential election on 5th of November. And I hope he wins. I hope he goes in and pardons himself. Now, like I was saying before, this is the system desperately trying to protect itself. Because, like I said, Trump was not supposed to win in 2016. He's not part of the club. He interfered with the plans, as we like to call them, right? He wasn't supposed to win. And that's when basically the deep state went, holy fucking shit, get him out. Who do we know? All the newspapers, get them all to dig up everything you can on him, grab him by the pussy, Russiagate, peeing on people, absolutely do that. All of that stuff. He had 2 scoops of ice cream, run that article right now. Basically, have you ever in history seen the media go after any fucking president harder? You fucking haven't, right? And they all went after Trump because he's not in the club. Right, and then a little bit of a woo-woo fuckery happened in 2020, funnily enough, mysterious votes all turning up at like 4 a.m, that little graph where the graph just suddenly goes like, woohoo, like that, and then Biden wins. All that stuff. Hunters and hunters. I am about 85% sure that some absolute fucky-wucky stuff went down in the 2020 election. So this time around, Trump has only got stronger, he's only got more powerful, he's like that fucking guy for the X-Men fucking prequel movie, well, the more you attack him, he just absorbs the power and becomes even stronger. Basically, like, he's went up in the polls. Everyone's like, yeah, but he's a convicted felon. And everyone's like, and? In fact, the vast majority of people in America are like, I'm a convicted felon. Man, that doesn't bother me. Man, and they're all going to vote for him. I think this might have just won him the election. I'm going to knock on wood quickly. I don't want to jinx it, right? But I think this might have just won him the election, right? And I know this sounds absolutely terrible to say, but I do hope that they try and jail him. I hope that they try and jail him because that will be the match that likes the powder keg, right? Like I've said many times before, I like it when people have a fire lit under them because that makes people angry. And I really like it when people get angry.